What is going on, guys? The vs. All Gaming with my review of 七つの大罪, or 7 Deadly Sins, episode 13. And this episode, it definitely had a lot going on, and we got some pretty good fights, and not to mention some pretty good story progression. But the episode itself, it starts off from last week, and we do learn now in the episode that it was confirmed, or at least they said that Veronica, she is now dead, sadly, and that right there does suck. But really, you could not feel that bad about her death because we really did not know much about her. We only saw her from about 2 or possibly 3 episodes. I'm not really sure, like which one she was introduced, but we really not get that much time to get attached to her. So her death, it does fall a bit flat, but you definitely gotta feel bad for, Elizabeth, because that right there was her sister and now she's dead. But now we see Meliodas, he is now free, and this guy go freaking crazy because we see now that Gullia, she was now holding his sword, and we see Meliodas in an instant. Not only did he get his sword back, but he also ripped off her hand as well. And that right there was awesome, especially that scream of hers. To me, when I heard that, I was dying laughing. But we see now that even though Meliodas, he is kind of out of control right now, all he did was swing that sword a little bit, and he made this pretty massive shockwave that just sent Gullia flying. And not only that, Jericho also got hit as well, because we see now that when we saw her, she was on the ground. But not only that, we saw Gullia's hand, it was by Jericho, and we see that when Jericho had went toward Gullia, she had some kind of green ball, and when she threw it on the ground, apparently that right there activated some kind of healing spell, and that right there was able to reattach her hand back to her arm. And that right there, was impressive, but at the same time, you gotta wonder, just how OP are these spells? Because if that right there was the case, then I'm pretty sure, someone who was almost dead, they could be healed instantly with that. But now we see that band, he came along and he took all their balls now. So even though they were both healed, if they get hurt again, and we see now that there were 2 other kinds, they're an orange and a purple one that we have no idea what they can do. But we see now Ben has stole them. But now we see that while they were getting distracted, we have Meliodas going in for an attack, and obviously Ben, he's definitely worried. Ben is worried. And he's also wondering, what was Meliodas, because right now there is no way he could be human. But we see that, Meliodas right now, he is not talking at all. And he even took out Ban so easily. Like that right there goes to show you, how strong he is. And so now we see that after Ban, was dealt with, and obviously there was no way that Jericho and Gullia even touch Meliodas. We see now that the entire area, except for the small amount that was around, Huck and Elizabeth, that right there was fine. And we had Meliodas, he had appeared before her, and you would think that maybe he would attack her, but after smelling her, so I'm guessing her scent protected her, I guess. We see now that he had made this shadow wing, and that right there did look pretty cool. He had used that now. He was able to fly, and so now go back to what's the name, Helbram or Helbram, whatever his name is. We go back to him at King, and obviously, right now, King, there is no way he can fight. King is pretty much done for. Even hit a attack speed, I guess, it kind of slowed down because we have what's the name, Helbram. He has stopped it so easily. And so now we see that when Meliodas was there, obviously, these 2 were definitely going to fight. And I gotta say, their fight, it was impressive. To me, I was digging it. I love the animation. I love, how something which is so fast paced. I was definitely digging that fight. And Helbram, this guy is no joke. Even though his power is kind of hacks, because mainly he gets the power pretty much Helbram. He gets the power from others, but even so, this guy, he was definitely pretty skilled. And we even saw now at one point, even before Meliodas, got even stronger, Helbram was still doing a pretty good job, because we saw that Helbram, this guy, even though he looks pretty old, he is pretty freaking fast. And now we see that when he actually got a pretty good clean hit in, these shadows or this mark, that were like on his body, it was actually able to protect him, and that right there was like definitely fascinating because like to me, even though I have read the manga, I definitely forgot that those markings could like move and protect him. To me, that right there was something that I forgot, and so the fact that right there can happen. It goes to show you, not only does this mark or shadow, not only does it make a pretty good, offensive, like not only does it make pretty good for offensive moves, but it also has some pretty solid defense as well. And so now we see, like at one point we could come back to Hauser and just like creepy looking and there's a creepy looking Holy Knight. And we see this knight, he was like definitely glad to be done with like Diane, because obviously he is the one that had made this like this huge crater in the ground, and that right there it pretty much what it took her out. But now we see Hawk's mom, that like giant pick on in nowhere, and we see that it actually had Diane closing this like in her mouth, and so like when she drops it now, that right there was like definitely hinting that Diane was fine and she was coming back, because that right there made it so obvious, because obviously there was no way she would fight naked. So I definitely like the fact that like Hawk's mom is somehow knew where to like bring her clothes, because to me that right there was like very fascinating as well. And so now we go back to the Meliodas and like a Helbram fight, because that right there took most of the episode, and we see now that that even though Helbram was getting stronger, so was Meliodas, and we see now that when Henriksen, like when he stepped in, Helbram got insanely more powerful, and to me it was crazy, because we see now that like after one hit, like after Henriksen gave him that huge power buff, not only did he like take out Meliodas, but he also put it into the rampage as well, because we see now that all those marks, they were now gone. So that right there goes to show you how powerful Henriksen is, because like can you imagine if he fought Meliodas, because those two definitely gotta be equal. So that right there was like definitely nice to see, and very impressive by your Henriksen, because that right there just hints at how much power he has, like solo wise. But now we see that when Meliodas was like done for, we have Elizabeth and Hawk, like those two were like definitely worried, and now we have Bad coming there as well. And he was telling them all to run, because obviously like something was definitely about to go down. And Elizabeth thought that like maybe he was actually going to abandon Meliodas, but that right there was not the case at all, because now we have Diane. She's now back and she is pissed off, and she also has her sacred treasure as well. So that right there was nice. But now we see that when she finds out that like Helbram, when he was the one that was like behind this, she was like pissed. And we see now that even Henriksen, he was telling Helbram to retreat, because obviously Henriksen knew that right now that with Diane like this, especially her having her sacred treasure, that he was like definitely outclassed. But we see now that when Diane put out this like one technique, I believe it called Mother Catastrophe, that right there pretty much just took out the entire town, because now we see that the earth, it was now splitting up, or the ground, it was like splitting up in like certain directions. And we see now that even Ban and Hawk, because Ban was like carrying King and Elizabeth, but they all had to run away, because obviously this attack, it was definitely powerful. It was a very wide scale as well. And so now we see that all this earth, it pretty much gathered up, and we even see now that Diane, she was like standing on it, and the size difference was like crazy. And so now we see that that after she was done gathering the earth and it fell, we just see nothing but like destruction now. But at least Diane is safe, and Meliodas as well. Like they were both fine, and Meliodas is back to normal. And so now we see that when Elizabeth, she was like so happy, that Meliodas was fine. we had Ben coming in there and he actually punched him. But that right there was like payback, I'm guessing, for when Meliodas had like cut Ben in half in his rampage. But now we see like everybody was fine, but at the same time, you know, they now have a serious problem on their hand, because we see that Helbram, he actually took Meliodas' sword, and apparently this right here will be used in like some kind of ritual, and obviously, you know, that right there is not good, and Meliodas even Meliodas, he knew that right there was definitely not a good thing, but at the same time, you know, he was like definitely relieved, because as long as Elizabeth was safe, Tim, everything was just fine after that. So that right there was nice, that like her safety came before his like broken weapon, even though it plays a pretty big, you know, importance in the series. And so now we see that like Helbram, he was now fine, obviously, and so was like Jericho and Anguilla, because we saw that these beasts that they were using, you know, to escape, they actually got wrecked, obviously. And so the fact now that they all survived that right there, you know, like was kind of impressive at the same time. But now we see now like everybody's kind of like getting serious here, and we even have what's his name, Grimiard. He was now feeling, you know, like so sad right now, because, you know, right now Veronica, she claimed to be dead, and so that right there, you know, just killed him. And even Elizabeth, she like, even though she was like definitely sad, at the same time she was being strong about it, and that right there was some pretty good character development for her. So that right there was nice. And she like even told him, you know, where to bury her at. It was like some kind of lake where her and her sisters, you know, like I'm guessing they all spent a lot of time there, because obviously, you know, it meant a lot to them. But now we see that like after some time passed, we have, you know, we have Elizabeth. She was like feeling, you know, like kind of sad right now, and she was like talking to herself, but Hawk and Diane overheard her. And right now, you know, she's not alone, because she definitely has, you know, Meliodas, and she has, you know, the other sins as well. And so now we have Ben and King. They were like training, and Ben was like taking this, you know, so seriously. But that's because, you know, he has a goal in mind, and apparently it's like some kind of horn that's like actually in the kingdom. He actually wants to use that to contact the Goddess clan, and he actually wants to, and Ben, he actually wants to use the Goddess clan to actually resurrect Elaine. And that right there, you know, that right there, which is like that right there was like something huge, because obviously, you know, we like definitely know about Ben, you know, like very tragic past, and now he has to wait to like finally bring back his love. And that right there, I do hope it can happen, because, you know, those two, they definitely deserve it, especially, you know, when it was ruined by that demon. But now we see now King, he was thinking about the power that like he has his from Meliodas, and obviously, you know, Ben knew it as well. But both of them, or mainly Ben, he did not want to face the fact that like Meliodas could be a demon, because obviously he knew, you know, like obviously Ben knew what a demon were capable of, and obviously, you know, they had took a love for him, so Ben definitely has like this deep grudge against them. And so now we see now that Ben, he now we have Ben kind of not facing the truth, but obviously, you know, at some point he will. But we have Meliodas, he was like by himself thinking. And he was, you know, rather shocked about how strong, you know, he was kind of shocked about how strong the Holy Knights have become. But obviously, you know, like right now, he definitely knows what they're planning, because they take his sword, and I'm guessing, you know, like that sword, it can only be used for like one purpose. And so now we see like when he like, to me, this right here was like so freaking huge. When he took that twig and he threw it, and that right there is like that would just split a hill in half with a freaking twig. To me, I was just like freaking out, because like that would there like show you how strong he is. It does not matter what kind of, like to me it seemed like it does not matter what kind of movie he has, as long as he has something, you know, like there's definitely some power behind it. But now I have a feeling that, you know, Meliodas' past will be revealed, because he did meet somebody that like fought alongside him, you know, a very long time ago. And not only that, I do believe he also mentioned a promise as well. But now I have a feeling that the other sins will find out about Meliodas, about what he really is, and about, you know, like what his path is like. But in the episode, we did get a new opening and ending, and I did like them. But I will say that probably, you know, music wise, I like to be music wise, I do prefer the opening, you know, from the first one. But visually, I definitely like, you know, the second opening a lot more. But the episode to me was like definitely good. I liked it, and I'm probably gonna give it probably an 8 out of 10. But of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.